Good morning, good morning, good morning, good people. What do we have? 8 days? 8 days till shooting, till filming. First episode of Nevada Frontier. Bunk. Well, today is December 30th, 2025. It's Tuesday, 6 a.m. in the morning out here in the West in southern Nevada, Pahrump or Pahrump-Tucky, you choose. But here we are, once again, the second to last day of the year. Boom. Yes. Great. And okay. Now what? Okay. So going to Vegas today. All right. So here we are, day 2 of week 1 in our neuroscience approach to success State Penn workbook, as opposed to the Penn State workbook. So that's what this is. It's a 4-week, 4-hour per day. Well, it's a 7-day per week for 4 weeks, 4 hours per day, 28-hour course, answering the questions from a neuroscience perspective of who am I and why do I behave the way I do. And if we understand that, that would be like understanding how a car works before you learn how to drive the car. That way, when something goes wrong while you're driving it, you know you might have a better idea of what to do at that moment in time. Plus, you're better able to take care of the car and it will last you longer. So I'm using my handy dandy cup. My handy dandy self-heating cup. And my, that's hot. Not too shabby. Okay, so that's what we're doing here. This is 4-week, 4-hour per day, but for our purposes, the people watching the podcast versus the people incarcerated, the people in prison, is for us, it's about building better habits. That's what it's about, building better habits, creating a program, and then repetition, 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 so that every day, even though our life has highs and lows, it's this way. So the trajectory of transformation is upward. So when we shuffle this mortal coil, we are rocket ship heading in the right direction, versus people who are chasing pleasure, but they're not doing what is being called. Okay, so day 2, week 2, today, day 2, week 1. This week is overview and orientation. So yesterday we learned a little bit about the brain, the consistency of the brain, and how the brain can easily be damaged 5 ways, 5 primary ways. Traumatic brain injury. Ooh, I just got a concussion. Alcohol. Yep, damages the brain. Drug. Yes, damages the brain. Something growing on the brain, a cyst or a tumor, and a disease, brain disease. Those are the 5 main ways. The good news is the brain is plastic, not made of plastic, but it adapts and it can change. So we learned yesterday about Dr. Amen's brain scans and his Brain Smart program, where you think about IQ as a bucket. We'll talk a little bit about this later because our topic for today is IQ. So you have a bucket, and when you have one of those 5 things happening, it's like putting holes in the bucket. and let's say the information is water, it's a fluid, and it starts leaking out. A Brain Smart program adds more stuff back in and puts you on a special diet so you reduce the brain damage. So it would be like plugging the holes or trying to plug the holes or reduce the outward flow of the holes or making sure no more holes occur or the holes are smaller. So it's to stop the draining of the bucket. And the main ways to do that are Fix the Bucket, Diet, Health, and Brain Smart program, where you are relearning the things that you are forgetting. So you're redoing that. If you were a piano player and you're losing your ability to play the piano, a Brain Smart program would be to have you play the piano, or maybe a recorder, or who knows, something so that you are relearning. Okay, that was yesterday. Today is IQ. What is it? How important it is, and how you can use your IQ to get into a career that enables you to advance in the most efficient way possible and to not waste time. Tomorrow we're going to talk about addiction. We're going to find out that everything we think we know about addiction is probably wrong. And then we're going to learn about why humans control the planet on Thursday. Why do humans control the planet? And I don't remember what Friday is, but it doesn't matter. Brain Smart program. Okay, so also, we talked about Daniel Amen yesterday, Brain Smart program. This is a Brain Smart program. This is a Brain Smart program. It's not geared toward your past, though, to remember stuff from your past. It's geared towards the future to train you or to help you learn, to give you tools and show you how to use them of important things. So you've heard it said, if you give a man a fish, you feed him for a day, but if you teach him to fish, you feed him for life. What we say here is, it's not enough to teach a man to fish. You need to do two more things. You need to teach him where to fish, and you need to teach him what to do when he gets the fish, what to do with the fish. And it's not so much as teaching, it's helping the person learn, because we need to become autodidactic. We need to become self-learners. We need to be able to learn on our own. Right. And there are tools to help us do that called AI. And there's some fantastic tools that you can ask AI to create a program so you learn the material. Wow, who knew? Right. So, let's get on with the show. Today, the themo is, what's your IQ? But before that, let's get some advice from an 80-year-old. Live your life so that your epitaph could read, no regrets. No regrets. Yesterday, I had the good fortune of talking to two of my daughters who are together in Maui, Hawaii. And they had their husband, Army person, sniper, Afghanistan, and boyfriend, who knows, maybe one day, who's currently in the Army, a very good position. And my daughter's in the Navy. So they're visiting my daughter, Catman Joe. Catherine and her boyfriend are visiting my daughter, Elise, and her husband and daughter, LJ Cool, in Hawaii. So we had a good, fun conversation. And then I got a picture at 10 o'clock at night. They're in a restaurant and they have their picture taken with Adam Sandler, who's looking like an Adam Sandler in the picture, where everybody else is like, yeah, he's like, but it's a good picture. Everybody's happy. And that is a good thing. I don't know why I did that. Okay. Bonk. Or that. Well, I do know I did that. But moving on. So today's thing is, what is your IQ? Why do we care? But before that, and so the advice from an 80-year-old is live your life so your epitaph could read no regrets. Seth Godin, library fatigue. Perhaps this has happened to you. You're at the reference desk of the library with the answer to any question available, and you can't think of anything to ask. And there's the vegetable blindness that occurs at a really good farmer's market. After a few stalls, it's hard to imagine what to cook. Shortly after high-speed internet arrived, this mind-blanking set in for many people. You could look up anything on Wikipedia, listen to any song, read any recipe, and at that moment, our curiosity seemed to fade. And of course, with Claude and other AI tools here, it's now a worldwide epidemic. We can find information, get tutored, create code, build illustrations, narrate projects, a team of free interns ready to go, give it a go. We have the keys to the car. It's got a full charge. Where are we going to go now? Right. Unlimited choices. Don't know where to start. Righto. Righto. And when I say righto, I don't mean my right toe. Okay. Let's talk about IQ. Let's talk about IQ for a few minutes. Jordan Peterson does a great job of breaking down what is IQ. It's not that. What is IQ and why it's so important. And the third thing is the leaders in IQ, the people who started it all were the military, the army, because during times of war, you want to get as many people enlisted and productive as possible. So to figure out what they have the ability to do is critical. Quickly figure it out is critical. So here's some things. It is illegal to take anybody into the service who has an IQ of less than, I don't know if it's 86, 87, 85, somewhere in the high 80s. If you don't have an IQ of at least in the high 80s, you cannot join the military. Why? Because there's nothing you can do. You can't do anything to the level of your involvement is going to be more productive than negative. It's not worth it. Cannot join it. So that's part of the reason for the ASVAB is to figure out what is your IQ and make sure your IQ is high enough to join. And a lot of people can't. They don't get in. Okay. So those three things Jordan Peterson does. What is IQ? Why is it important? And how reliable is this IQ thing? And according to Jordan Peterson, research in IQ is the most solid part of psychology that there is. The margin for error, the standard deviation, something like that. The statistical jargon is that it has the highest correlation to accuracy of anything. Okay, so now what is IQ? Jordan Peterson breaks it down into two types, crystallized IQ and fluid IQ. And crystallized IQ is what you know. So I describe it like a bucket. It's like a bucket. It's what you know, all of the information you know. And think of IQ tests as rings around the bucket at certain levels. So when you're in elementary school, there's a ring around there, and that's the national test that kids take every year. And what it measures is where you are compared to where you should be. So if 600 is the perfect score, then it judges you where you are relative to that for all students everywhere, standardized test. And then, of course, there's the SAT, the ACT that people take to go to college. And that is a measure of what you know. So a perfect test means you know everything that you should know by the time you get out of high school. And maybe it's gauged just a little bit higher. So if you have a perfect SAT score, that means you know more in all of the subjects and more in all of the areas, well, reading and or letters and math, letters and numbers. You know more than you need to know compared to everyone else. ASVAB, same thing, LSAT, MCAT, all of those tests measure crystallized knowledge. How much do you know versus how much do you need to know? So the LSAT, which I also took, you have to get a high enough score, because if you don't, it means you don't have enough fundamental basic knowledge to be able to complete law school. You don't have it. MCATs would be the same thing for medical. You have to have this level of knowledge to even start. Why? Because if you don't have the fundamental knowledge you need to learn the stuff you need to learn in order to pass the program. Okay. So that's crystallized IQ of what you know. And so now we take that back to Dr. Amen. As we get older and we damage our brain, it's like damaging the bucket, and stuff starts leaking out of it. Stuff that we know, our lived past, our anticipated future, our personality, our ability to our ability to figure, it doesn't matter. All of those things start leaking out. And so Dr. Eamon says we need to put more stuff. We need to do a brain smart program. We need to put information in there that is the same as what's leaking out. So if there's pictures on the wall and you're forgetting who's in the pictures, you need to go back and look at the pictures and have somebody tell you, no, that's Granny. No, that's this person. Oh, you got that dress there. This is from this. So you're replacing the stuff that is disappearing. And diet and health. We need to stop the decay, stop whatever is, slow down whatever is causing the bucket to be damaged. We need to stop damaging the bucket, and we need to put stuff back in there that is the same as what we are losing. And we'll do some other exercises that help us learn too. Okay, so like in basketball, you dribble with your right hand. Okay, well, you want to learn more. Let's start dribbling with your left hand, because you're not learning a lot when you're dribbling with your right hand, because you've already mastered that. So let's go do this. And that's why they'll say, when you're older, do crossword puzzles, learn to play an instrument, do this, do that. Okay, so that's crystallized knowledge. Fluid knowledge is the other one. And that I would describe as like the pump that takes all of the information out there that could go into your brain, takes all of it in, and actually puts it into your crystallized knowledge, takes information and turns it into crystallized knowledge. And so what ends up going in your brain is a function of the pump. So you could have a pump that isn't so good, but you use it a lot, you take care of it, and it's working for a long period of time, and you have a good bucket, and you just slowly trickle charge, or slowly fill it up, and nothing is leaking out, and the stuff that's in there is actually good stuff. Versus you have a really good pump, but you don't use it that much because it's high speed, and you get, it's like a fire hydrant. You get a lot more coming in, so you don't retain everything, but you have the ability to learn quickly, and stuff is splashing out, and you're missing the bucket and stuff like that. You're processing a lot of stuff, but it's not really ending up all of it in the bucket. And so that would be people who have their brain just works a little bit faster. People with high IQs. And so people with a high IQ, both of those are working well. And so what happens is The difference between people with high IQ and not high IQ is high IQ people solve problems faster than people who have a lower IQ. That's it. They solve problems faster. So learning is like solving a problem. I don't know this information. I'm going to learn it, so now I do know it. And if you have a high IQ, you're getting information, turning it, processing it, turning into knowledge, and you're storing it as crystallized knowledge in your brain. So when you see patterns, when you see things, aha, I can figure that one out because I already have the information in my brain. I have it as crystallized knowledge. I've seen that before. I've seen that pattern before. I can access it, solve the problem. I'm on to the next one. And what happens over a period of time, even though you're slightly faster than an average person, you're more drawn to learning more because it's more interesting. So you spend more time at it and you solve each problem faster. So cumulatively, you get way ahead in, let's say, a matter of years. You get way further ahead of the average person because you solve each problem a little bit faster, and you probably spend a little bit more time doing it because it's enjoyable, because you're good at it. You get rewarded for doing it. So this little speed gap over time becomes huge. Now, the problem is with drugs. When people start taking drugs, well, in the third grade, people start noticing, hey, he finished the test faster than me, or hey, I finished the test faster than everyone else. Then you start getting labeled as smart or not smart. By the sixth grade, you start identifying as I'm smart or not smart. By the ninth grade, you tend to give up. A lot of people tend to give up, and then they look for alternative stimulation like drugs, like marijuana, reefer, Mary Jane, pot, whatever. They discover that, and then all of a sudden, the fluid knowledge that the pump gets whacked, turned off, broken, corroded, rusted, not used. So what you have, so we've all seen these old hippie guys. They know every song from the 60s, but they can't learn anything new. The drugs have whacked, have damaged, destroyed, not completely, almost destroyed the pump. So they're not able to get new stuff in there. And then, of course, the bucket starts leaking, and then they end up with a horrible, miserable ending. But they will still use the marijuana to feel good. So as you're spiraling down the toilet bowl, you feel good. And then you kind of have to need it, because if you don't have it, you start not feeling good. And then so now you're using marijuana to feel normal, but the pump is broken. Now, in your crystallized knowledge, you have an image of yourself from the past, which is a higher image, but you don't have the ability to get the pump to work, and you could be frustrated or just not. Anyway, we are out of time, so we're going to say and cut. Tomorrow is addiction.